catch them and sweep the next 7 games.
I think it's six. We're down 6 games now because we beat them.
After playing last night.
Yep. So if we win tonight, it'd be 5 games. I mean, we play them 6 more times. So
yep. After tonight, 5 more.
After tonight, 5 more times.
Yeah,
but
we
we got
1 more in Atlanta and 4 more in Philly.
I mean, they're not playing so hot. We got to take care of business, but it wouldn't bother me. I mean, I'd like to get the wild card, to tell you the truth.
I honestly would rather the wild card at this point. We've seen 2 straight years of getting in the first round and then getting, bounced just because we're off for 10 days. There's no offense. There's no, motion. You're just getting stiff and everything like that. And you play in that wild card games, an extra series. Yes, your season could end a little earlier, but you get to keep that momentum. Say you escape that wild card game, you go into the division series, all the momentum, boom, you can win it because it's a 5-game series. Okay, it's not a long series. You don't get 7 games.
That's how the Phillies have beat us past 2 years.
Yeah, because we won. We had 100 wins last year, and then we win 1 game in the postseason and get bounced. I'm getting tired of it. If it takes us to the first time in 7 years to not win the division to make it out of the first round of the playoffs, sign me up, okay? Because those atmospheres in Truist are insane.
Are we on YouTube?
Yeah, we are. I'm just sending it out.
Brother on?
I have no idea. Not Clay, you in the chat? Clay, comment if you're in the chat. If you do join, guys, we're going to start in just a minute.
YouTube. Oh, come on. That's such a bum.
Who, Ursula?
Yeah.
I'm glad they were able to get somebody.
Ursula, they got him from Detroit, right? They waived him.
Yeah, I'm glad they were able to get somebody. And Preston, you get your hiccups in control.
Bro, I get them all the time.
I seen Clemson got a verbal commit from somebody from Georgia today.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Brock
Dad.
Brock something or Brody. It's a quarterback. All
right. What's up, Tony?
If you click on the thing, you'll show that, and you won't have to go to.
Let them know how Josh cheated at NCAA. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys.
It's between us.
Say what's up in the chat, Tony, MS Kua. We're going to start the podcast here in a minute. What we got? I want to hear this. I want to hear the story that happened. Y'all want to do it?
Okay. So, me and him a few weeks ago, we were playing NCAA 25, right? And we were playing against each other, and he said we couldn't have Alabama.
Okay.
And he said press a random team. Guess what it landed on?
Alabama.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, what did he say?
Press it again.
He said what?
Press it again.
Press it again.
Yeah, we need to get mods to ban him.
You said what? Get the mods to ban him?
Yeah.
So he ended up picking Alabama?
No, it was he landed on Alabama.
He landed on.
I said hit random team again.
You don't want him to play with the overrated team?
Why wasn't he able to be Alabama? Because y'all chose not to be him?
Yeah.
He should.
That was our first time playing the game.
Who won?
I did.
Barely.
Yeah.
So what was the team?
But I do got to give it to him. He didn't quit.
What was the teams anyway?
I done forgot. Who did he?
I was Texas, and I don't know what you were.
I think I was
like Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona.
That's not bad. That's pretty even teams.
Yeah, I was Arizona. Their playbook is wild. Arizona.
He's a random team though. He should have been able to be Alabama.
Yeah, he did hit random team. He should have been able to be Alabama.
Yeah, Dad, you're saying that.
If you hit Alabama, you were being Alabama. Bryce says sorry, couldn't make it tonight. So Bryson just said, "Where's Mr. Brown? Bryson won't be here. He had a shitty day."
So I guess he's on YouTube though, watching us.
Yeah, he just texted me a minute ago. I don't know. I'm sure they're not out there in the dark. I think he just got done. I'm sure he's tired. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
He was coming here. He said they're not. He said he's not staying here. All right. If anybody joins, we're about to go live for the podcast here. Record for the podcast tonight.
Anything else you want to say, Cade, before it's time?
Anything else you want to say before we?
W's in the chat for Clay.
W's in the chat for Clay. Yeah, I'll say no.
All right, hold on. Let me swap.
Yeah, you're good. Go for it. Y'all say what's up in the chat if you join. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start recording here in just a minute.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about the Alabama quarterback that committed to Clemson? He can't hear me.
You can't hear you yet. Yeah, you can put a W for yourself.
W's in the chat for Clay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right.
Were you talking about the Alabama quarterback that committed to Clemson?
No. This is a quarterback that played high school.
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about. It's a quarterback from high school from Alabama.
Spain high school or something. What's his name?
Brock Bradley.
Brock Bradley, yeah.
Yeah, 3-star quarterback out of Alabama. Yeah, I see it on my thing now.
4-star.
Well,
He might be by the end of the year.
yeah, potentially.
I should turn the camera towards me more, but I don't want to mess it up even more. I should honestly might. Hold on. See what I can do.
Blah 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 blah. Hiya!
Hold on. I just turned off the TV somehow. Damn it. Son of a bitch.
And he done knocked the camera to the ground.
All right. Well, no. Can y'all hear me still?
I can hear you, but all I see is your feet. The camera's on the ground.
Bro, why can I smell that over here?
Yep. Trying to fix it.
Somebody remind me in 3 months to after the baseball season to remove this, so I don't have to pay for it.
To remove what?
Hey, you ain't got to wait 3 months. As soon as the baseball season's over.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, it should be over in 3 months, but starting today, I get 3 months free, and then they start charging me an extra like $22 a month.
Well, when's the
I'm not paying that.
The last game's at the end of September.
Sorry about that, boys.
Means the playoffs should be over, what, mid-October, late October?
Yeah, but Valley won't carry no playoff games.
All right, we good? Everybody ready?
I saved myself $20.
Guess I'm ready now.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start the podcast. You do join recording for Spotify and YouTube later. And if I can get there. Come on.
Oh, you didn't know?
What you think of? Was he a quarterback?
Your ass better call somebody.
Texas would never be back. I'm putting that shit on my grave. Horns down on my grave, son.
Dabo is going to wheel his boys to a big victory this coming Monday.
Big victory. It's damn Georgia Tech.
That game ain't a top 50 game, man. South Carolina go in there. They're going to get de-spurred.
Shout out to the boys again, going another 4-0 on the parlay, hitting again. 8-0. We are 8-0 on the season. If you listen to the podcast, you want to win some money, tune in.
No dogs.
Go Tigers.
Roll Tide, roll. Roll RMFT. Roll motherfucking Tide.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the College Football Weekly Matchup. Another preview show before we start the season here. Actually, this week, not too many. We got one big game this week on Saturday at noon. I hate it's at noon, but just me here tonight at the house. If you realize, Bryson had a shitty day, like I said. Anyways, but he'll be back next week. But we do have the other two guys here with me tonight. Preston, what's up? Looking forward to the You got a big ACC matchup this week, starting Saturday.
You ain't got to say big ACC matchup.
It is a big ACC. Georgia Tech's a good team.
No.
Georgia Tech's not good. All right, well, two notable teams. Josh, I know you're excited. I mean, we got a big game this Saturday.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a big game. I'm very excited.
I think it's a very notable game. You never know what can happen in college football, especially early in the season.
Very true. Very true.
Anyways, both here with me tonight. If you are here on YouTube, make sure you comment. We are live on YouTube. And if you are listening to this, make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube, download and follow the podcast on Spotify. Last week, we did do our ACC and SEC preview. This week, we're going to go a little bit through the Big 10 and Big 12, do the same thing. Before we do that a little bit, just catch up on a couple things here. Josh, I know we spoke about Paul Feinbaum last week. I saw a report that came out just about a few hours ago before this podcast. He said Alabama's done or something. I saw. Did you see that?
Yeah, I seen some stuff that he said. You know, he just likes to stir the pot. You know, the dynasty's done. You know, his dynasty's done. He made a living off Nick Saban. Nick Saban ain't there no more. He's made a living off Alabama, and he's somewhat trying to feed Georgia rat poison. Georgia's the kings of college football, dude. Who won last year? Last time they played? I mean, come on, Paul Feinbaum. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm a Georgia fan. I hate to agree with you. No,
I mean,
they're not done yet.
Got a good thing going, and like, what defines a dynasty? Of course, the Nick Saban era is over, but if you look at some of the previous dynasties, if we stay here and think about dynasties, how would you define the New England Patriots dynasty? How long did they go without winning the Super Bowl before they won some more?
Yeah, they're going to be the worst team now,
but you know what I mean? Like from 2001 to 2019, is that what you consider their dynasty?
Yeah.
And how many years did they go without winning the Super Bowl in between there?
Wow.
I mean, Alabama was, in overtime against the team who won last year. They could have been in that game. I mean, the guy muffed the punt at the goal line, and you got to give credit to Michigan for getting the job done like they were supposed to. But I mean, the dynasty could live on. The era is over. It may be, start over a new dynasty. I don't know, but Paul Feinbaum's a damn clown show. And he just likes to stir the pot. I mean, that's what he's doing, getting people talking about it. That's what he's got to do to stay alive. And, Nick Saban's time was over, and I think Paul Feinbaum's time's over.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully,
Well, I mean, maybe he can ride Tennessee's coattail now. Maybe he can go there, I mean, I got to, he takes these phone calls from people in Alabama, and he knows what he's doing. And, he takes the phone calls from some of the most stupidest people, Alabama fans and Auburn fans, and Georgia. I mean, I've heard some Georgia fans on there. The goddamn fans. He just takes phone calls from dumb people, and he does that, to keep his show going. It's other people that's kept his show going. It ain't him.
Somebody's got to get us how to get us a phone line on the show. We could get a phone line and have people call in. Obviously, I wouldn't put my phone in, but. Yeah.
No, there's this thing you could. It's a Microsoft type thing, and it gives you a few numbers to select from. But I don't know if they can call in. I think you'd have to call them on it.
No, I'd want one where they call in, but it'd be pretty cool,
That would be cool. Yeah, if they could call in.
It'd be pretty cool to just something different, call.
Well, I'm gonna try to get that on my phone, on my computer this season for my Rolling with the Tide show, so I could get.
That would be cool, yeah.
So I can get my buddy to do the show with me without him having to come to my house.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking more of like a call in where we can bring people in. We ain't got a big following, but it'd be cool just to have a.
Yeah, if I get that thing on my computer and get it figured out, then yeah, we could definitely give that number out for people to call.
I know at least 2 or 3 people that would call and 100% speak.
I think it'd be funny and make it more interesting. I think more people like call-in shows, so yeah. But anyway, any other as far as Ty? I didn't see too much going on this week, but like I said, besides the start of the season, I know we mentioned some stuff in NFL. I know we're not going to do an NFL show this year. I'm going to do a couple things on my own on TikTok. If you do follow TikTok, I'm gonna do my picks on there. I might post some on YouTube every now and then. We do have our big fantasy draft coming up. Josh, I know Josh is looking forward to.
Yeah, that's next Sunday at 7:30. Correct.
September 1st, whatever that is. Is that
Yeah,
next
not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday at 7:30, and then my other one is the same night at 9.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be back to back.
You're gonna be back to back.
I'm gonna be drafted out by the end of
It's gonna
Sunday.
be 10 o'clock. Hopefully it won't last.
Well, Monday's a holiday, so
Yeah, Monday's a holiday. So
Is it a government holiday?
yeah, it's Labor Day.
yeah, I'm off. Yeah, you should be off, Preston.
That's the first I'm hearing about this.
Okay. Anyway, any other before we get into the preview? I mean, do we have any other news? I know we mentioned, like I said, stuff about Bo Nix getting the starting job. I saw that was cool. Coming out of college, a lot of these rookies just got announced starters. Jaden Daniels, obviously a starter at Washington. Caleb Williams going to start here in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, the SEC released their tiebreaker format for the SEC championship game.
Do you know it? Yeah, I didn't see that. Go ahead.
Oh, do I know it?
Do you know it off the top of your head?
I know that head to head, obviously, and then common opponents, record against common opponents, and then there's 4 letters, A through F. A is head to head. B is record of common opponents. C is record against the highest ranked common opponents. Anyway, it goes down. It's really confusing. But F, the last one, is they draw a random team. If there's 4 teams tied at the top, they draw 2 random teams. Like if none,
I'd have to get real deep.
if none of the other
Yeah.
first 6 scenarios work out, then they draw random teams. So
Now, what do you mean by they draw a random team?
I guess they put whoever, if there's a 4-way tie for first, they put them in a damn hat, shake them up.
Hey, they put them in a hat live on C&BSports. We draw.
Yeah.
We draw the name and it gets shown.
I mean, I don't see that coming to that. They just have to have all those to cover their bases. If there's like a clear cut regular season SEC champ, then they'll be the home team for the SEC championship game. And if there's 2 people tied for second place or whatever, 2 teams tied for second place, then they'll go to that format to where it's head to head and then record against common opponents and then record against the highest ranked common opponent. And then it goes to margin of victory against common opponents. On down the line. Margin of victory. So I don't know if you'll see any more games where they're easing up. But I just don't see it getting past letter B. Record against.
I feel like it has to be real deep to get to that.
That came out today. Another tidbit. 19 players on Alabama's team are on the Senior Bowl watch list. 19 seniors on the Senior Bowl watch list.
So that means y'all are going downhill next year.
Possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, not too much. I don't know if Preston had anything, like I said, before we get into the preview. Anything? Congrats, Clay says. Oh, I didn't know who he was talking about. I guess he was talking about you.
Yeah, I know.
Congrats. Okay. Anyway, hey, by the way, how was the food this weekend?
Man, it was good, dude. We had 6 Boston butts that were smoked, and then we did, I think, 40 racks of ribs, and we fed a lot of people.
Nice invite, wasn't it, Preston? We should have showed up.
By the way, Labor Day is not this Monday, but it's next.
It was definitely hot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The night after the draft, the night of the draft, like the day after our draft is Labor Day.
This upcoming.
I didn't make that very clear because I was assuming that this coming Monday was a holiday and I was off.
No.
Yeah, not this
Just
coming.
ruined my entire night, to be completely honest.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, All right, let's get into the preview, and then we also going to do a week 0 pick. We're just probably just going to pick the Florida State game. We ain't going to do it's just going to be for fun before we do the picks. But we're going to start out with the Big Ten. We will start out with the Big Ten. If you don't know how we did this last week, we are giving our kind of what Barstool Sports did on their podcast, Unnecessary Roughness. I don't know if you saw that. They did conference winner, the title game matchup, surprising team, disappointing team, and the worst team in the conference. We are going to start out with the worst team in the Big Ten. Preston, do you have a worst team in the Big Ten?
Okay, so the worst team in the Big Ten, because I did it the same way as I did it last week, where most disappointing for me. I just chose as a team that we thought was going to be better than they actually were going to be.
Exactly.
I mean, the worst team. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed not to pick like Rutgers or Northwestern. Schools like that.
Out of those, who do you think? I mean, I know we don't know too much about them besides till we see them. I know last year, I think Michigan State. I know Michigan State was toward the bottom. It was another team that finished last. Can't think of off the top of my head. I went with a little different team, but who would you think off the top of those? I mean,
goodness gracious, what is that? I mean, I'm thinking Rutgers is gonna be pretty bad, but look at their schedule. They don't have they have one ranked team on their entire schedule, and that's at USC when they play them. October 25th. I mean, realistically, I think they're gonna be bad because I just think they're always just historically bad. I mean, it's just tough to recruit to that school.
I've heard some good things out of Rutgers a little bit this year. I'm not really sure, but Josh, you have a worst team you picked?
Yeah, give me the Purdue Boilermakers. I think they're going to have the worst record. In fact, I think that they will be lucky to win 3 games. Indiana State, they open up with. They'll get a victory there, and then they're going to go on a losing streak. They play Notre Dame, Oregon State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Illinois, Oregon. They may win Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, and Indiana. I don't see them winning more than 3 games in that schedule.
I did the same thing. The schedule. I think they had the toughest schedule, one of the toughest schedules in the Big Ten. And some other teams, like Michigan State and Indiana, approved a little bit. They were also considered here for me, but and they gave up the third most yards in the Big Ten last year and the most passing yards. It was the fourth toughest schedule in the conference, and they gave up the most points. So the defense is not that great. And like I said, some of those other teams have improved. Like you said, they go on a stretch of games where they do face some tough teams. So that's why I went for Purdue. I have to do it to my boy Drew Brees, but have to do it to him. Purdue is going to be the worst team for me. Let's go to disappointing team. Kind of similar here, but a team that we think, that people might be high on, but they might disappoint us a little bit. Josh, do you have a disappointing team?
Yeah, I do. I got one. Give me the USC Trojans as a disappointing team, and disappointing as in I don't see them making the playoffs. I see them losing to LSU in week 1, losing to Michigan week 3, losing to Penn State, and losing to Notre Dame. I see 4 or 5 losses on their schedule, and I think that'd be disappointing for them.
Yeah, those are just 4 losses in the big games too. You never know if they could slip up and lose one of them other games.
Yeah, I mean against Maryland or Minnesota,
Yeah, you just never know. Preston, did you have a disappointing team?
Yeah, I've got Washington. I think first year in the Big Ten. I mean, they go from playing in the national championship game not to even be ranked in the top 25. I think, first of all, that's pretty disappointing. But, I mean, a lot of their team has left to gone to another team, also, gone to the NFL. I mean, they've got a pretty difficult schedule. I mean, not terribly, but it's more difficult towards the back end. They play at versus number 9 Michigan. They get them at home, so that's it's a plus. That's later in the season, about halfway through. Then they go to number 25 Iowa. They play USC at home. They should be familiar with playing USC. They've played them in the Pac-12 for so long. Then they play at Penn State on November 9th with potential big game. I mean that could be a night game, and that's a scenario I don't think they've ever walked into something like that before. I mean, I on it, and then they finish out the season at number 3 Oregon, again another Pac-12 game, but still, I think Oregon's going to get their revenge from the 2 losses last year. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this. I mean, with all the travel, all the the ranked games, the potential difficult matchups they got. I mean, they're looking at potentially 3 to 4 losses from a year that they went and played for the national championship following that.
Okay, I'm trying to. Yeah, no, you're good. I was reading I was trying to figure out who I picked for the Big 12. I wrote down why I picked them, but I didn't write down the name.
Talking about Big 10?
Or excuse me, Big 10. Yeah, Big 10. I wrote down. I don't know what team I picked. Let me figure that out real quick.
Tell me what you wrote down, and I'll tell you. Mike, tell you who you picked.
Oh man, let's see. I wrote down one of the toughest schedules in the Big 10, having to play Texas, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, and Washington.
Michigan.
Yeah, that's exactly who it was. Excuse me, I forgot who I picked. Michigan. I did pick Michigan. I know you guys both picked Washington and USC, but Michigan, you won the national championship last year, went undefeated. I just feel like new coach and possibility, like Josh said earlier, if they could get some more discipline to them. But they still got one of the best running backs in the country, so you never know. I just think it's obviously a disappointment from last year. I don't think they're going to be in the title game. Maybe they squeak in the playoffs, but I'm just not too sure with the schedule. Like I said, with some of the teams they have. I mean, they have Texas and even USC. They could possibly lose. Oregon, I don't see them winning that game. Ohio State, and then possibly even Washington losing. So that could be. I mean, that could be 5 at minimum, maybe 3 losses. I think at best out of there, I think they win. They lose 2 of those. So, I just
I just want to put a little nugget out there. I think since 1998, if we had a 12-team format, 98 is 25 years ago. If we had a 12-team playoff format since then, 24 3-loss teams would have made that play. So that's just something to keep in mind for a 3-loss team making the playoff.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
24 24 of the
I definitely think there's a chance.
There's a chance.
I think 3 losses getting in.
Especially if somebody's got a real tough schedule.
Yeah, especially if nobody goes undefeated. I mean, you got a bunch of teams with 1 loss too, multiple teams. I mean, you might even have a 2-loss. I don't know how they'll decide. You might even have a 2-loss team or a 3-loss team that might get in or be ahead of a 2-loss team too.
Yeah, man. If you got a real tough schedule, and you got 3 losses, that you could get in. But there'll probably be some other 3-loss teams that don't get in, but their schedule might not been as tough.
No.
You hear that, Bryson? Florida's got a chance.
So does Clemson. I mean, both of y'all.
Oh yeah.
A chance.
Oh, Steve Spurrier coming out today, stirring the pot too.
We had
picking Alabama.
What happened?
Steve Spurrier coming out and picking Alabama to win the SEC this year. Yeah, the headline said Steve Spurrier goes out on a limb, and somebody said, "Yeah, that's really going out on a limb, picking Alabama to win the SEC." I mean, they've won like 7 of the last 9 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to pick anybody, but what was I going to say? Oh no, we got a Florida fan that commented on our TikTok, a buddy of ours, and he's Florida. He says he's got Florida winning 8 games. He said people's too low on them. So
that might be drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him, but yeah, he said
they do got some talent. I'm just worried about the depth.
Like I said, I think there's a chance for them to do actually. I think they're either going to be a really good team or they're just going to be off the wall. I think they're just going to be terrible.
It's just a pendulum. It's a pendulum swing. Like either they're going to win 3 games or they're going to win 8.
Yeah, that's what I could see too.
But I'm just worried about the depth issue down there. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, surprising team. We got surprising team. I'll lead off on this one. As much as the quarterback didn't come to Georgia. Very disappointed about that, but I went with the Cornhuskers. I went with Nebraska in this spot here. I like Matt Rule. I like the new quarterback in Raiola. And they also got a big transfer from Texas, a receiver. And I just think I looked through the schedule, and I think they had a record. What was the record of them losing all these close games? I think they lost by a bunch of games
by 7 points or less, like a lot of games
or less. You got a team that can win these games now, and if they can win these close games, I think there's a path. I really do. I think there's a path. I looked at the schedule, 8 or 9, unlikely,
maybe even 10. I'm looking
10 wins. Yeah, that's what I saw too. I looked at the schedule and I said, I think Nebraska could be a good team.
And if they could beat USC, and or Iowa, they could. That Wisconsin game's going to be tough too.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, they got tough games. I just think if they play well, that's for anybody, but I think if they play really well, I think there's a path to 8, 9, 10 wins.
I like that surprise team pick there, bud.
Yeah.
It's a lot of teams to pick from now in these conferences.
Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of teams both any conference. Nebraska. So I went with Nebraska. Josh, did you have one?
Yeah, I had 2. I'm gonna
go for 2. You good?
All right. I'm gonna. I like Maryland to be a surprise team. Maybe win 8, 9 games. I was looking at their schedule, and where did it go? Give me 1 second.
When's the last time they won? Ooh, that's a lot of wins for Maryland. I'd like to see it. They got.
Their toughest game is at Oregon, and then they're at Penn State. And then they get Iowa at home. If they could pull off an upset against Iowa or USC, they got Michigan State early, but the out of conference game they got is Virginia. That could be the difference between 8 wins and 9 wins. Yeah, I got Maryland, and then also I have Iowa. I don't know. Iowa could sneak their way into the playoffs out of the Big Ten.
Yeah, they lost a few players, but I've heard of Iowa.
They got a pretty tough schedule. I think scheduling wise,
because I know their offense is never.
No. I want to say they got an easy schedule.
Yeah,
they got Ohio State is the only team I can really see threatening their schedule.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. You got these teams that, don't have as many tough games as everybody, but they might have, say they go with 1 or 2 losses, but you got somebody that went in and played Oregon, Ohio State, all those. That's going to be hard to choose, man. I know, and you know what you got to do. If a team has 3 losses and one has 1, but obviously, it's just a tough decision. Preston, you have a surprising team.
Yes, I do, Mr. Chris. You happen to have taken mine, if you can see that. Surprising team right there. I chose Nebraska. I think that they're potentially on track for a 9-3 and 10-2 season. I think they've got a pretty favorable schedule lineup. I'm looking at the schedule here. They're tough games. You play at Ohio State. Okay, that's pretty difficult. I'm not going to say that that's not. And then they play at USC. So they're doing some traveling. But they get USC at home or UCLA at home. They get Wisconsin at home. They do travel to at number 25, Iowa. But their schedule is pretty favorable. They play Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana, Illinois, Northern Iowa, Colorado, which I think they're a better team than. They start the season up versus UTEP. I think realistically they could go 9-3, 10-2, and they could be a far-off contender for the Big Ten. They could, find themselves – filling it in if those bigger teams like Michigan, Ohio State, USC, and Oregon beat each other up and have a couple.
Nebraska comes in 10-2 or something, and you got the like you said, the conference game loser or whatever
Mhm.
has two or three losses and gets
This
in, two losses again. What do you do? You know,
would be the most intriguing college football season ever.
yeah. I mean, what
With the expanded playoffs and all the conference realignment and how they're going to decide conference championship games. I just can't remember another season that's been this intriguing. This is just like an overload of just thinking in your head when we get down into week 8, 9, and 10.
I mean, you just know there's a team we're not thinking about that's going to get in somehow. I mean, there's going to be a team out there that just randomly gets in.
You're going to have a non-Power 5 for sure in.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like somebody that we might not think from these conferences, you know, that might not be the best team might get in. I think there's going to be one of those at least.
Yeah.
What do we say? What we thought is the max for the SEC? What do we think realistically they're going to get in this year?
I said 4, I think.
I think the max
Five.
is 5 that
yeah.
could get in from the SEC, but I do see realistically 4 and.
I think on average, I think 3 is a very safe number to say.
Yeah, three is probably I imagine Vegas betting.
I think if there was a poll, I think if there was a poll, it would be 3.
It would be 3.5 if there was a betting line.
Yeah.
Will it be 4 or will it be 3? You know what I mean? Like, is it under 3.5 or is it over 3.5? I don't know, but I mean, there is a possibility that they could get 5 in, depending on what the rest of the conferences do and what it all looks like. You know,
it's a good question.
5 is possible. I think it's unlikely because that's.
Yeah, that is. I think it's unlikely. I mean, it would have to be a lot go down. Like the Big 12 would have to really poop the bed and only be able to send one team. The ACC probably, if they only sent 1 or 2 teams, then it could possibly be 5.
Yeah, that's a good question. If you are watching live or if you do rewatch this video, comment how many teams you think is going to make it, you know, out of each conference or out of the SEC. How many teams you think will make it out of the conference, SEC conference? Let's go to the title game matchup. I believe that's the next one. Yeah. Preston, who do you think is going to be in the Big Ten title game?
I think we get a rematch of a regular season matchup. I think we get Ohio State, Oregon. I think that's going to be another great game we're going to get out of those two teams.
Yeah, I agreed with him. I went, and I think Josh might too. I went Ohio State, Oregon. I think they play somewhat in the middle of the season, early in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
So,
they play on. I'll give you the exact date right now, Mr. Chris. I'll pull it up for you. They play October 12th at
that's somewhat
home in Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, they play in Oregon.
Yeah, that's somewhat early.
So that's mid-season.
Yeah, I can see that matching up again. Josh, who you got?
I got the same thing. I got Oregon and Ohio State.
Try and be original, Josh.
I know. I mean, when you said that, I kind of wanted to. I kind of wanted to throw Iowa in there, but I just
who would be. That's my next question. Who would be the third team if we couldn't choose?
I mean,
if we couldn't choose those.
Michigan,
yeah,
or Iowa, or maybe even Nebraska. You know, Matt Rule was his 3rd year.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what he's got cooking up there? You know, I'm not out there in the Midwest listening to talk radio, and you know,
not overlook USC.
I know they were your disappointing team. I hadn't looked at their schedule too much, but if somehow they surprise and play really well.
The USC, yeah.
I think that would be the other team.
I mean, I just I wanted to go with the.
Oh, exactly. No, I agree.
I'm just going.
That would be my other team.
I kind of went with who's been the most out of all them teams. Who's been the most disappointing over the past 10 years, and it's been USC every year.
They were definitely on my. They were going to be my next team for disappointing.
It's hard not to be disappointed when you start, like Bryson says, inside the top 20 every season for no real apparent reason, and then it's like, where do you go from there? You know, you're not going to be good enough to win a national championship. You're only going to fall.
Oh boy,
and people fall to the trap too. I don't understand. I've heard a lot of people
about USC, man. I seen this reel, this Facebook reel of the quarterback that was for USC when they played Alabama to start the season. I can't think of his name right now, but he gives us a play-by-play, and he talks about how they were up 3-0,
Yeah,
And
he was like, "Yeah, if I made that right read, we
I
would have
made
won the
that
game."
right. If I threw the ball further to Juju Smith-Schuster, we would have went up 10-0, and who knows what would have happened. They lost 56.
They got
56.
dog walked.
Yeah. He said, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah,
56.
you would have lost by less. You take 7 off the board.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Who knows what would have happened? Dude, come on, man. Come on. I forget that quarterback's name, but golly.
I doubt he's in the chat, but Bryson, if you're in the chat, you could comment your conference winner or whatnot. Disappointing team if you think. I don't know if he's in the chat or if he's relaxed.
So who we got winning the conference? Probably all got the same team winning the conference.
I got Ohio State. They got the easy schedule, and
They got a stacked team, but they have the coach. He's got to show me.
Yeah, I know. I said Georgia would be the team. I think out of anybody, I think if anybody went undefeated, it would have to be Ohio State.
I see Oregon going undefeated to the playoffs.
Yeah, they play really well.
2-0 versus Ohio State.
Yeah, I think they beat them twice.
See, I've got it the other way around. I've got Ohio State being 2-0 this season and winning the Big Ten.
So you think Ohio State would go undefeated?
I mean, I don't know if they're going undefeated, but I think they're going to go 2-0 versus Oregon.
But who else would they lose? I mean,
Michigan. I mean,
that would be just great.
They're not, hold on, time out. I'm
gonna go ahead to Michigan this year.
I'm gonna go ahead and lock that in. There's no way, no chance they lose to Michigan this year. There's no chance. Absolutely,
I agree. They could be 11-1. I think Josh said this last week. They could be 11-1. Go first 11-0, play that game, lose it. They lose it. He's fired in the tunnel. He ain't getting back to his office.
I think if they're playing, I think they stomp Michigan. I think they beat them.
If they beat Michigan, or if they lose to Michigan, win the Big Ten and go to the playoffs and lose in the playoffs, I think Ron Day may lose his job.
Yeah.
Wait, what if they still make the playoffs?
That's what I'm saying. If they lose to Michigan, still win the Big Ten and go into the playoffs. But if they do not win the championship game with this stacked of a team,
yeah,
he loses his job. I mean,
I don't know, man. If he gets to we'll play devil's advocate. Lose to Michigan, 11-1. Okay, you don't play for the Big Ten championship because, say, Michigan's playing for it. Okay, you're out. You go all the way to the national championship game. You lose to, say, I don't know, Texas or whoever they lose to. Okay, they finished the regular season, 12-2? 13-2? All around the national championship. I know Ohio State fans are crazy. I know they're, bonkers when it comes to their football, and deservedly so. They got all that money. They got all that, talent. There's no way they let go of their coach who just took it to a national championship game. Albeit they lost. They lost their rival 3 out of the last 4 years. I get it. It's frustrating. There's no way they let go of that coach. He recruits high. I mean, eventually a blind squirrel is going to find a nut every now and again. He's going to have to luck into one of these games. 1-4 all time versus Michigan. And then, what is it? He'd be 0-1 in national championships as the head coach of Ohio State. I don't think they fire him in that scenario, but they have multiple losses and they lose to Michigan this year. Yeah, he can find a new job. He's out.
Yeah. I don't know. I know a lot of people is going to be calling for his head if they lose. They lose to Michigan again. I don't think they will, but you never know.
Oh, they will. They will.
Yeah.
They'll be calling for it.
Anyway, so everybody had Ohio State. Preston, you had Ohio State too, right? Yeah.
I had Oregon.
You had Oregon? Oh, you picked Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you picked Oregon. Okay, so Oregon, Ohio State. Okay. Only two teams I thought that would be picked out of this. Let's get to maybe maybe a more interesting conference here as far as who can you pick.
Oh yeah, this is really interesting conference.
The Big 12. The Big 12. Same thing here. We are going to start out with the worst team in the conference. Josh, do you have a worst team in the Big 12?
Yes, and there was a lot to pick from. It's the worst team, but I'm going to go with Houston because they hired a new coach, and the coach they got is the coach from Tulane. which is a good hire. I think they got the second best hire in the coaching carousel in the offseason. So I think he's a really good coach. But they are going to have a roster overhaul. Like they only got a few guys returning. One of them's their quarterback, and he just had some. I read he just had some shoulder issues in fall camp or in spring camp. Had problems with his shoulder. I don't know if he's going to make it through the season, but it's going to be a rebuilding type year for them. So I'm going to go with Houston, and that coach's name is Willie Fritz. He was the coach at Tulane, and we all know what he done at Tulane. So, you might want to get Houston now because they are in the recruiting hotbed right there in Texas. So, you might want to get.
Who is this? I don't mean to cut you off. Who is this quarterback? That was one of the reasons I did. This dude, I saw 6'5" quarterback Donovan Smith. Houston. I thought I read he's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know much about Houston. I know they were terrible last season, but
he's pretty good. But I'm just saying that there's a lot. They're replacing a lot of players.
Yeah, no, I did see that. Yeah, but that might be a good thing. So you never know. I think Houston's one of the teams that'll compete for the bottom spot. Preston, do you have a worse team?
Yeah, I've got TCU. Well, I mean, worst or most disappointing?
No, this is worst. This is the worst team here.
I think TCU is going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I mean, I think they're going to lose a lot of games this year. I mean, I know they're going to be, more improved, since following last season. I think they're going to take a step up, but I just think they're playing a more difficult schedule. They play ranked Arizona as of now, ranked Arizona, ranked Oklahoma State, ranked Utah, ranked TCU. I mean, not TCU, Kansas. They also play at SMU, a historic powerhouse in the ACC, UCF, Cincinnati, Texas Tech. I mean, and then they play Houston. I mean, I know, like he was just saying, get Houston while you can, but I think there's at least 6 losses on the schedule, if I'm being completely honest. Potentially 5, but I think 6 is where they're looking to be at.
Yeah, I went with a team that I just think probably going to be. I don't know too much about them, but I think they're going to be the bottom of the barrel in BYU. I think that'll be the 2 teams fighting for the bottom, BYU and Houston. I remember I liked. I can't remember if it was last year, year before last. BYU was returning a lot of seniors.
What's their coach's name? Mangini or?
I'm
Is that the guy from Navy?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah. But no, I remember they were returning a few seniors a few years ago, but I'm guessing all those guys are gone now. But
yeah, it was hard to pick a bottom of the barrel team out of here because you got 3 or 4
of them.
I mean, what's Cincinnati going to be like?
What's Colorado going to be? I mean, you look at Colorado's schedule.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously,
Average.
They were honestly. I thought about Colorado was honestly a thought in picking the bottom.
What about Baylor?
Yeah,
what are they going to be?
And TCU, like Press said, TCU too. I think TCU would be the bottom.
The only reason I didn't take Colorado is I thought that was going to be like, reaching for low-hanging fruit. And I thought Bryson was going to be here. And let's all, say, if Bryson was here, Colorado is his worst team in the Big 12.
I don't know. No, I don't agree with that. I don't know. Bryce's so up and down. Bryson, I think Bryson would have picked. I could see Bryson pick him as their surprising team.
No, Bryson's surprising team would have been the Baylor Bears. We know that.
Probably, yeah. Probably. Well, while we're speaking on Colorado and we all did our worst team, I'm going to go ahead. I know people may not say this may be not disappointing because people don't expect them, but they have 2 of the best players in college football. I see 3 or 4 wins on this schedule. And if you have 2 or 3 of the best college players in college football, I think that's disappointing. I mean, in my opinion, I would just that's the way I put it. And one of the top, you got one of the top legends. Maybe they could surprise you, but man, they got a tough schedule. Moving to the Big 12 conference is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I just I just don't see it. I know they haven't been good in the past few years. I just think it could be maybe not what it was before Dion got there, where they only won 2 games, but it's gonna. I could see them.
That's your most disappointing team.
Yeah, I could see them winning 2 games. I see 3 or 4 wins. That was what I saw, but maybe they could shock me. Who did you have?
I got Colorado as my most disappointing team just because they got these high expectations, which I think are unrealistic expectations, and then also with the media and the talking heads, you got people that are way low on them and people that are way high on them. You got it, like we was talking about the pendulum. It's a big pendulum swing here. You got people that are really high on them that are like picking them to win the Big 12. Then you got people that would put them down as their worst team. I got them winning. I got realistically, I think they can go 5-7. I think the ceiling for them is 8 wins, and if he does that, he should get Coach of the Year. I just think that I think that they have a chemistry issue in the locker room. I think there's a I don't know. I just don't think they have what it takes to be a championship team mentality in the locker room over there at Colorado. I think that poses a problem. I think Shador Sanders it's a me situation with him. I don't know too much about Travis Hunter. He doesn't talk nearly as much as Shador does. But yeah, Travis Hunter, probably the best college football player out there. And, just he man, imagine what he could have done if he would have went somewhere like Georgia or Alabama or Tennessee or LSU or, even Clemson or, you know what I mean?
Whoa. We're not going to just skip over like you didn't just disrespect my team like that. Even a team like Clemson. Okay.
Clemson.
All right.
I was trying to include you.
Don't try and include us, all right? You can include our 2 national championships.
Just championship caliber type teams. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Continue, sir, please.
Anyway,
just have to just rattle my cage, why don't you?
Are they done after this year? Are they both going to the NFL?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
There's no chance they transfer and stay to another year. I'm guessing
no. I don't think so.
I think that I would take the risk. They're both projected, I think, inside a top 10 pick. So why take the risk in getting hurt?
Yeah. I was looking through the schedule here. I was like, where's 8 wins? That's probably the max I see is 8.
But listen now, they played 6 ranked opponents last year. They were only blown out by 1, and that was Oregon. The other ranked opponents they played, they were in 1-score games in the fourth quarter.
As I say, they could shock me. You never know. I think.
What was that game against USC? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Was it a good game versus Stanford too, or if that's something else I'm forgetting?
Yeah, I don't know. I know. Yeah,
their games were on so late. I didn't watch them.
They lost some games they shouldn't have lost, really. But
exactly, yeah.
But they were in the fourth quarter with 5 of the 6 ranked opponents they played. They were in 1-score games in the fourth quarter. They didn't lose them by 1. They ended up losing by 10 or more points. But
it was a 1-score game in the fourth. Now they didn't lose by 1 score. They lost by more than that, but it was at one point.
I'm sure a handful of the games they lost by 1 score or less.
Hell, they were tied at some point during all those games they played when the game kicked off.
It started out at 0-0. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Preston, do you have a disappointing team?
We're talking about Big 12, or are we talking about
Big 12?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, big disappointing. You had? I know you said TCU was your worst. Is that disappointing for you too?
That's pretty disappointing. But I'm thinking I was probably going to go with Arizona on that one, and I just dropped it off my board. They're preseason ranked number 21. I think they're going to be an incredibly talented team. They just have a history of losing games they shouldn't. Until that's not the case, they're not going to not be on that list for me. They've got a pretty favorable schedule, so this is the year to do it. But I just think they're going to have 2 or 3 losses. This is the year that they could sneak themselves into the playoffs. And like I said, I think they're losing Utah. I think they're losing to Kansas State. I think they're probably going to lose to UCF when they play them in Florida. I just think they're going to lose like some games they shouldn't.
If I'm not mistaken,
They're a young team, but I like that quarterback they got, Noah.
I agree. I do too.
if I'm not mistaken, Arizona. I was seeing Arizona their games last year. I think they won the games they won. They won by a little amount, but the games they lost were by a little amount too. So I think they were always in close games. If I'm not mistaken, I saw. I could be wrong about that, but I believe it was Arizona. So, any of those games, like I said, they could have won more games than they should have last year, but they also could have lost more games. So I think it could have gone either way. So yeah, they were on par for my disappointing team too. I thought about them, but let's get into the surprising team. Josh, you got a surprising team?
Yes.
Who you got?
Give me your 2017 national champs, UCF. I think Gus Malzahn. I really like. I like him. I didn't when he was at Auburn, but I think he's a good coach. I think Auburn fired the best coach they had in a long time when they fired Gus Malzahn. But they got KJ Jefferson. I think they got the best available quarterback in the transfer portal. I think they could really make some noise, man. They could be a surprising team out of the Big 12 here. I could see them winning 8-9 games.
They were definitely en route.
They got a good running back too. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name off the top of my head too, but definitely we're en route for me too as far as the surprising team. Preston, do you have a surprising team?
Yeah, I got Cincinnati. I think they're going to be a lot better than expect. Were you also picking Cincinnati?
Cincinnati sucks.
You suck.
You and damn Cincinnati. You and damn Cincinnati. You were on them when they were damn supposed to be in the playoff. Then they
whoa. Again, we're not going to do that. I was on them at the beginning of the season, and what did I say? They were going to make the playoffs. What did they do? They made the playoffs.
Yeah, because they played Harlem and Evans High School and all these other teams and Clemson.
I'm sorry. Did they make the playoffs? I rest my case.
Anyway, they ain't making the playoffs this year. But go ahead, finish up.
They ain't making the playoffs. I think realistically their ceiling is 8-4. I think to be ideal, I think they're gonna be 7-5, 8-4. Having a really good season. I think it's just a step up. I think they're gonna win some games they shouldn't, and I think they're gonna lose a game or two they shouldn't lose.
The Bearcats ain't gonna win, but they got a better chance of being the bottom.
They were on my worst team checklist.
Yeah, they got a better chance of being the bottom team than they do winning.
Let's just not give him hell.
Give him hell. We gotta give him hell. Hey, y'all give me hell when my picks are bad.
I get hell with all my picks.
I give Bryson hell for his picks too. Give everybody hell. Anyway, Cincinnati. We'll leave it at Cincinnati. I went. You give me hell. You gonna give me hell in a minute, maybe. This team, not right now, but it may not be surprising because they were good last year. But I'm picking Kansas, and the reason I'm picking Kansas is because I think they're going to make the playoff. That's why I'm picking Kansas. I think they're going to be one of my playoff teams. They got good quarterback. He can stay healthy. They got the running back, good receiving core, offensive line. I think they got some new pieces on the offensive line. But another thing is they don't play Arizona. They don't play Utah. They don't play Oklahoma State. And they don't play UCF in their games from what I saw. And they had 9 wins last year. I could see 10 or 11. I could see 10 or 11 wins at least this year.
Jalen Daniels being a Heisman finalist.
If he leads them that well, I think he could. Even Devin Neal. If Devin Neal plays well, the running back there, I could see it.
Hey,
I got Jalen Daniels as a dark horse for the Heisman. Maybe not a Heisman winner, but a dark horse to be invited to New York.
I picked a good team. I know. That's why I said you could give me hell.
Surprising team. You chose a preseason ranked top 25 team as your surprising team.
I didn't. I said, yeah, but the reason they're surprised, do you have them in your college football playoff?
I haven't made a playoff yet. Maybe I do.
Do you have them winning Do you have them winning the conference?
Do you have them winning the conference?
We'll see in just a minute.
All right.
Keep us on the edge of our seat.
We'll see in just a minute. Title game matchup. Preston, who you got?
All right. I got the sister school of Kansas. I got Kansas State playing Utah.
Kansas State.
What do you mean Kansas State? They're also a preseason top 25 team.
They are good. They ain't making no playoff. I mean, they may. No, they could. If Arizona does bad, they could. Kansas State was honestly in consideration. I don't like Kansas. I don't know, something about Kansas State I never liked. But yeah, who was your team? Who was the other team? Kansas State and who? I missed it. Utah. Yeah, Utah's powerhouse. Josh.
Yeah. I'm gonna change mine. What I wrote down real quick because I'm gonna let Preston have Kansas State there.
You ain't going with the chalk? Oh, you wrote down Kansas State?
I had Kansas State and Utah, but I'm gonna go with.
You had Kansas State and Utah too? Let's go,
State
man.
Supposed to be good.
I'm gonna go with Utah and Oklahoma State.
Good, the Pokes.
Another Heisman. Hey, Heisman. They have Ollie Gordon. They have Ollie Gordon at 75-1 to win Heisman. That is wild.
Yeah.
How much money do you think
that means if you bet $100, you win a $750 for Olive Gordon. I mean, I think that's a good, good bet for Ollie Gordon. I think he could definitely win Heisman.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah.
How much money do you think they're going to have added to the collective with those new Venmo ads on their helmets?
I don't know. Hey,
who was the last running back to win the Heisman?
The Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
I was going to say not Derrick Henry. Who was I thinking of? I was going to say Derrick Henry, but there was another Alabama running back, Mark Ingram. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, he was the first Alabama player to win the Heisman.
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, but Derrick Henry was the last one to win the Heisman. Ollie Gordon's not built like Derrick Henry. Can't carry the ball that many times.
I picked Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in two.
Derrick Henry carried the ball so many times.
You know who is built like that? I'm gonna give Preston some props here.
Bill
Maffa.
Hey, I'm telling you, that's a dark horse too. I don't know if they play really well. I think that's a dark horse. I think he's good. Anyway, who did I have? I have the Utes, potato chips, Utah, and Kansas in my champion big title matchup. Like I said, both got a great QB. Both good on both sides of the ball.
That'd be a big turnaround for Kansas over the past few years. It wasn't that long ago. Kansas was winless.
You say what?
Kansas was winless a few years ago.
Really? I never knew that. I knew they weren't good, but I didn't know they were winless.
I mean, they might have won one game. I'm gonna say they lost every game one year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but like I said, I'm high on Kansas. We'll see what I do in just a second. But conference winner, do y'all have Utah or who do y'all got?
Yeah, I got Utah.
I have Utah, the Utes.
Yeah, I got Utah.
Kyle Whittingham.
I wanted to go Kansas, couldn't do it. I mean, Utah's got it.
I like their 36-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, it'd be very disappointing if Utah. I mean, I know they got some tough teams, but it'd be disappointing if they.
Yeah, don't sleep on Oklahoma State.
I don't think so either. I don't know who's the quarterback. I know they used to have a difficult.
Hey, I don't know if you man. I don't know if you can sleep on UCF.
Yeah, no, that's another team. Like I said, UCF.
Speaking of UCF, have you seen in the video game if you play UCF USF, if you're playing at UCF, apparently in the third quarter, if you're playing a night game, you can see a rocket being launched in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
I hadn't seen that.
Because apparently 50 miles away is where they shoot rockets.
I didn't know that. Never knew that. But yeah, I'll go in Utah there. It's going to be our conference preview. So I got Utah and Ohio State. Well, I think the only difference we had went out of the conferences is as far as winners. Josh had Oregon, which definitely a team that could do it in the other conference as well. But let's go ahead, get out of the conference preview. Let's do the last thing we're going to do here. We got a big game this Saturday, week 0 at noon. Number 10, Florida State at Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets.
At Georgia, and they're going abroad. Game day is going abroad. Be the first time ever game day has been aired outside of the country.
Hold on. It is. They're not. It's not playing at Georgia Tech.
No, it's in Ireland.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, somebody told me that. I apologize. It's in Ireland.
But Georgia Tech may be the home team.
That's pretty cool in Ireland.
But yeah, this is the first time game day is going to leave the United States.
Hey, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yep, they're going abroad. Lee Corso is not making the trip, but Nick Saban is.
How many more years does Lee Corso got?
I don't know, man, but they're going to all be up there. I don't know where they're going to be next Saturday. I mean, I would imagine they'd be in Atlanta for Georgia Clemson, but I don't know that they're. Oh no, I know where they're going to be. They're going to be in Las Vegas. They're going to be in Las Vegas for LSU, USC on Sunday. That game's on Sunday.
That's probably right.
Pissed off we're losing over here right now.
Yeah, I see that.
About to throw a freaking remote.
All right, but Florida State favored by 10.5 in this game.
Ooh, nice flavor.
Josh, I mean, 10.5 points. Do you think Georgia Tech can?
I hate picking these week 1 games. You know, the first game because you don't know what they got. Don't know what.
Hey, by the way, if you are watching, we are going to start the records next week. We will not start them. By the way, I had a proposition for you guys. I forgot to mention this. Had a proposition. The loser of this has to come on the bowl show. Whenever we do the bowl show, I will wear a Clemson jersey if I lose.
Why is that a punishment?
I hate Clemson. We pick teams we hate. Josh wears a Tennessee jersey.
I don't even have a Tennessee jersey, and I wouldn't be caught dead.
Hey, I'll order it. Preston, wear. I don't know who's
South
your
Carolina. A Gamecock.
I would say Georgia. I was gonna say Georgia just because we're.
Well, y'all can buy a Gamecock jersey at Walmart where y'all live.
I'll find you. I can get you a fake Tennessee jersey. I just want you to wear it. I just think it'd be funny. I want you to lose, but you ain't gonna lose.
Oh man, to wear Tennessee. Oh my God, dude.
I know. That's why. That's the point. I think it'd be the worst for you. If Bryson, who would Bryson? What would Bryson wear? That would be the problem.
Miami, Texas.
Oh, Texas.
Texas.
And make him go horns up.
It was Texas. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah. That was my idea, but we could come up with something else. But we got to have a loser. We got to have a loser thing this year and a winner. We could do something for the winner. But anyway, I was thinking.
What are y'all gonna get me when I win?
I don't know.
It's a good question because go ahead and start thinking about it. You got 18 weeks.
Hey,
we hadn't got you done the last 2 years because we hadn't thought about you. We couldn't see you from the bottom of the board. Anyway, what were you saying, Josh?
Who do y'all think has the most number of 10+ win seasons of all time?
Who has Alabama? Wait, let's refine this. Of FBS, FCS.
No, FBS. Power 4 teams only. So 6 out of 68 teams. 68 teams. Who has the most 10+ win seasons? So, yeah, who has the most 10+ wins?
Can you narrow it down to one conference or two conferences?
No, it's out of 68 teams. Who has the most 10+ win seasons?
10+ win seasons.
Ohio
State, Alabama. I said Alabama at first.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say Alabama because again,
all right, so Alabama has 44 10+ win seasons.
Well, where did that stat come from?
No,
I can't see that.
I'll send it to y'all. But second is Oklahoma with 42. So Alabama. So I just want to put it. Alabama has 44. Auburn has 14. Tennessee has 20. So after Alabama and Oklahoma, it drops off a little bit.
Auburn has though. They have Chris Davis. That's what they had.
Oh hell, they're gonna live off that forever.
Hey, that is a hell of a. That was a hell of a moment.
But after Alabama and Oklahoma, it drops off. 10. Michigan has 32. Ohio State has 31, and Georgia is in 5th place with 28. 10 wins plus 10 plus win seasons. I thought that was pretty cool. We'll see where Clemson's got 19. Clemson, that's good because what was Clemson before? Oh, you know what I mean?
10 or 9. We had 10 years in a row where we won 10 games.
Yeah.
Anyway,
surprisingly, Nebraska's got 28 as well.
Nebraska used to be really good.
Shows how good they used to be back in the 90s.
Nebraska used to be really good, and they were good early 2000s, were they not, or no?
Their main run was late 80s and all the way to the late 90s.
Something to be said to selling out every home game for the last 20-something years.
Well, anyway, Josh, do you have a pick in that game for Florida?
Let me go on and give me Tech with the points.
That's right. I went Tech with the points too. I mean, like I said,
10.5 or 11.5.
I mean, it's to start the year. 10.5 is a lot of points to start the year. You never know. Florida State could come out flat. Georgia Tech, it's going to be one of their biggest games of the season. So, but then again, Florida State coming off not making the playoff.
Who's Florida State's quarterback?
DJ Uiagalelei.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You made me think for a minute. Yeah.
But Georgia Tech's quarterback is that Heinz
King.
Yeah.
I understand Florida State could come out. They're coming off of not making the playoffs, so they could be very pissed. Preston, who would you?
They know the whole world's gonna be watching too.
Yeah. Who you would take Florida State? I'm guessing
with the points.
You think Florida State's gonna win by 21?
I think they're going to wax them. I think they're going to wax them.
I figured. That's why I was just checking.
It's almost here, man. It's almost here, dude.
There was a couple other games. I know SMU plays somebody, but I didn't.
Nevada. SMU plays Nevada, but I will be watching that game too because I kind of want to see what SMU's got.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch all.
But so the line for the SMU game went from 27.5 down to 24.
Yeah.
I don't know why it moved down, but it did. So SMU's favored by 24 over Nevada, and I think they're gonna wipe the floor with them. Really,
wasn't Nevada one of the worst teams last year?
Yeah, they used to not be when what was his name? Kaepernick played there, didn't
he? Yeah.
Nevada used to be pretty good, but yeah, I think they're gonna wax them pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that's it. Looking forward to next week where we start our official picks. Big games after this week. Got the Clemson and Georgia coming sooner than you know it. Big season. Looking forward to a big season.
What we got?
Week 1. I haven't picked the games yet. I know Georgia.
Thursday we got. Next Thursday we got North Carolina State playing. Missouri's playing. Kansas is playing.
All those teams playing on Thursday. That's good.
Yeah, Kansas is playing a team called Lindenwood. What the hell is Lindenwood? I've never heard of that. Lindenwood. Let's look at it real quick. What they got? Lindenwood. I don't know. I don't even know where they're from.
Where are they from?
Sounds like
that's got to be a FCS school or something. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, dude. Lindenwood. But then you got Utah playing too. You got Utah, Kansas, Missouri, and North Carolina. So 3 ranked teams are playing. They're playing a bunch of nobodies. North Carolina State's playing Western Carolina. Missouri's playing Murray State. Kansas and Lindenwood, and Utah and Southern Utah. And then Friday you got Oklahoma playing Temple.
Temple. You never know about Temple.
Temple
Sometimes. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, but this for us to get a good look at some of these ranked teams, just to see them what they look like out there. Dust the cobwebs off. Georgia and Clemson don't have that privilege this year. They got to come out with that A game right off the rip.
Right off the rip, one of the first games on Saturday.
I mean, you got Penn State and West Virginia on Saturday as well.
Yep.
Those are some, and you got Miami and Florida.
I think that one's going to be a really good game.
Texas and Notre Dame, and then USC and LSU on Sunday, and Boston College and Florida State on Monday.
Is it safe to say Texas is back?
No.
You better not tell Bryson that.
Yeah.
I'll tell him.
Anyway.
I'll tell him. Yeah, we'll see. Texas, they playing Colorado State, but
Colorado State, never know about them. They can.
I mean, Texas is back to where was Texas when they won a national championship with Vince Young? Like,
ain't back that far.
That's what I mean. Like, where Texas? I hear people talking about Texas being back to where?
Back
a
to
winning
being
caliber football team.
I mean, yeah, they're back to If
Anyway.
you want to put them being back to winning 10 games, 11 games, yeah, I think they're back to that.
Yeah, back to almost winning the title, but not winning the title. All right. Appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube if you rewatch this. Download the podcast on Spotify. We have gained a good many subscribers since the first episode, the first episode this year. So keep doing that. Download and follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Looking forward to the season starting up. Appreciate you watching. Peace. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, a few people that's watching on YouTube, we're going to go ahead and end it. Bryson will be back next week. And we'll be back here hopefully next Wednesday again, 8:30. Peace out.